best in sports entertainment. We're here live in TNS Media. So we have a special guest today, Simon One Punch Carr, my guy. We're going to talk about some boxing today, talk about some, we had a lot of great matches, a lot of great boxing over the last few weeks. So we'll jump into boxing, the latest news, and One Punch is going to give us his thoughts on a few questions that I may have for him. So One Punch, let's start. We had a great week of boxing.
Yes.
We had Keyshawn Davis, who fought down in Virginia. In Virginia, he did his thing. He showed out.
D3, yeah.
Yeah, him and his two brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think about his performance?
Excellent. I really thought it was a welcome home party. You know, he really brought it, and it was a whole family affair. That's one thing that I really loved about that whole performance. You know, he put all his brothers on. He even put his sisters on. They sang the national anthem, and his little cousins brought him out, and so it was a whole, homegoing for him. So he made Sweet Pea proud.
Exactly. So also, I noticed another thing about Keyshawn Davis. I didn't know that his mother was his manager.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that either.
Well.
Learned that, and it's really a tight-knit family. They really inspire each other, and they always talked about their mom, and their mom really sacrificed a lot for them. So I really took to heart, like the life story. It's not just about boxing. She sacrificed a lot for them, and all of them said that. Like, to send them to the nationals, she spent her money. They didn't have their father. Their father was incarcerated, and she was the backbone, and they was just trying to make it out. So, the older brother had an outstanding career, and he was good, and he stopped. The middle brother was coming up, and Keyshawn was, left to carry it, and he carried it all the way to the Olympics, and brought it back, and said, damn, inspired his brother, like, man, come on, man, we can't do this without you. The other one had gave it up and got back in the streets and was doing all these other things, and it was Keyshawn that came back and pulled them all back in, brought the younger brother up because he inspired to be like both of them. And, look at them now. They really putting, a real statement on the board for VA. So kudos to VA, man. They, they really doing it. And we haven't had anybody real exciting since Purnell. Purnell was a close friend of mine. He was somebody I looked up to. He was someone that inspired me. He was like a mentor, and I used to go down there and train with him, and he would bring all the fighters. Floyd would go, Zad would go, everybody would go to VA Warrington Gym, and they'll work with Purnell, and Purnell will always, that's one thing that I loved about him, and he understood. He would always take from the youth, and he would always work with younger fighters because he wanted the cat-like reflexes, but he always wanted to know what was next up and coming. No style wouldn't be foreign to him.
Wow.
So that was his master. His master at that.
So let's rewind a little bit. Keyshawn Davis, he made easy work of Gustavo Lemos.
Correct.
Knocked him out. Lemos came in heavy, overweight, I think about 7 pounds. Yeah,
more than that because he hydrated. Yeah, it was probably about 10 to 15 pounds.
Wow.
Another weight class and a half.
So outside of that, we had Keyshawn Davis after the fight. Big news, everybody's speaking about it, everybody talking about it. Keyshawn Davis called out Gervonta Tank Davis for a potential fight at some point.
Yeah.
He says he's ready now. A lot of people believe that he's ready by what he's saying.
Right.
What's your thoughts? Do you think he's ready for a fight of that magnitude?
Knock, knock. Knock, knock. I feel like it's time. The time that era of waiting and holding the fighter is over with. These younger fighters, they want the limelight. Don't keep pushing them and saying step aside or wait your turn. They want to be superstars now, and this is the nature of the sport. I really believe, had it not been for Ryan Garcia, and we talked about this before, none of these fights would be taking place. It was Ryan that really trailblazed that whole staple of saying, "Give me him," and they was like, "What?" and they was like, all right, and we're gonna give him, and he really showed out. Yeah. And then the Devin Haney's, and had it not been for Ryan Garcia, I truly believe Bud and Spence would never take place. So Bud would never even be here in terms of, he would be there, but he wouldn't be undisputed, So that rushed that fight because he was like, look, Ryan Garcia came in and he did everything he said he was going to do. And from that point on, he was like, look, I want Tank. And they thought, hey, this is crazy. And he got Tank. And he, okay, he lost, but Ryan Garcia took 2-3 fights right after that and jumped right back into the position. Yeah. From that point on, then Bud Spence took place. That point on, then Canelo and Charlo took place. From that point on, all these new, young, unbecoming prospects are like now calling, I want the champ, not waiting in line. So Keyshawn is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. You can't really hold him, and I don't think if they don't give him that fight of that magnitude, it's going to be a problem between him and Bob Arum and them. Mm-hmm. Top Rank can't hold him.
But don't you think, though, honestly, Keyshawn only got 12 fights now, I believe. He's still just getting in, I don't want to say just getting in the game, but he's just really getting his feet wet.
Correct.
He's kind of like, now getting notoriety. Now he's in position now to possibly to have a title fight because he hasn't had a title fight as of yet.
Yeah.
With that being said, do you think with his skills and what you've seen that he's ready to take on a fight of that magnitude? You think he's ready to fight somebody like Tank?
Yeah, if not, then Lomachenko. I really feel like, Loman, and that's the one they banner, and that's something that they can do. Mm-hmm. But I really felt like Shakur had those same situations. He had real skills. Shakur was an Olympian, and he found himself at the crossroad, and he couldn't, Top Rank couldn't produce because they don't want to go out and do these mega fights. So thank, goodness for the Sheikh, because he's really forging these fights with different promoters, because it wasn't, you'd just be fighting under your same banner. Mm-hmm. And Floyd went through that same situation with Top Rank. They got to that ceiling, they always hit that roof. Terrence Crawford went to that plateau and he hit the roof. So then they saying, well, we can't find fights. No, you can fight fights, but you don't want to go out and split the gate with the other promoters. You don't want to go over there with Oscar. You don't want to go over there with Al. You don't want to go and make these fights. We're going to try to make it in-house so we can control all the gates. Yeah.
So, but like from my understanding, what you're saying basically he's ready to fight someone of Gervonta Tank Davis' stature. You think he's ready to be in that limelight? The camera's not going to be too bright for him based on what you've seen. But will he win that fight? That he can win?
I mean, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. And that at this point, again, we're bringing back to Ryan Garcia. When everybody thought he was crazy, he already had a plan, almost like a young Ali. Young Ali was calling out Sonny Liston. He was calling out, and he only had 7 fights. And he was calling out, Patterson and all these guys. And he was like, what? He's crazy. Okay, you're Olympian, but that's a different pedigree. You got all over, 200 amateur fights. You've seen every style. So you can't hold these guys when you have that type of pedigree. Okay. It's their time.
All right, so that fight does happen. Can you pick a winner? Do you have, like, if you were actually betting on that fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Keyshawn Davis, based off their body of work, based off their skill, because you were a boxer yourself.
Sure.
You've been in the ring, and you have off your eye test. Who comes out victorious and why?
All right, so I will say this. Keyshawn has been a secret weapon for Bud for some time. That was his prospect. He'd been boxing Bud for some time, for quite a while. This was been his, that was been his protege. That's what brought him over the Top Rank. Mm-hmm. So Keyshawn been a secret weapon for Bud for some time, boxing him hard. And Bud don't take it lightly on guys, doing sparring such anything. This I know. Mm-hmm. So if he can handle Bud right? And no doubt about it, I really feel like, yo, it ain't a style that he hasn't seen, you know, to go up against, you know, Tank. Now, don't get me wrong, Calvin, you know, Ford and all of them, they're my guys, Kenny, you know, shout out to them. I got love for them. It's going to be an interesting fight. I really feel like, you know, Tank has a great IQ. He come up in it just as well. And he's not no walk in the park. And you're good as your team, and your team really studies well. Bud Trainer does as well, big guy, you know, Buddy, like, you know, big boy, like he really, you know, he up and he put work in. You know, they thought that, go back to Terrence, they thought that Spence, they had a real easy pick with Bud Crawford. And these guys really went out there and smoked him. I was ringside.
Yeah, so, you know, moving on, I mean, I don't know who would win that fight. It's just me personally.
Sure.
If I was picking a winner in that fight, I probably would go with the person that has been, you know, doing it the longest, and person that my eye test, I would probably would pick Gervonta Tank Davis to win that fight. But I don't know. Anything can happen in the sport of boxing.
Yeah, for real. We've seen that.
Yeah.
We've seen that in the last, you know, few weeks in terms of boxing.
So we also had another fight this weekend. I saw you there. We was there, and it was a big, huge event once again in Philadelphia. It wasn't as you know.
We missed one.
Who do we miss?
Abdul Mason.
Abdullah Mason, yeah, he did. He fought on that Keyshawn
Sure.
Davis card. Now, Abdullah Mason, he did end up stopping in the corner, but he was knocked down twice.
Sure.
Abdullah Mason is a young prospect from the Cleveland area, so he did, you know, do his thing. He ended up showing that he's able to, his pedigree showed that he had championship mentality.
Right.
He came through and he come up with the knockout. So,
Right.
What do you think about Abdullah Mason?
Listen, man, I really say this, and I take my hat off to him. Showed tremendous heart, poise, and deadly. He showed that he's definitely a shark in the water. When he sensed blood, he went out there. And, you know, to his credit, they didn't take a soft guy. They took a guy that had over 50 fights and a high knockout ratio. He had like 29 knockouts. He might have had a few losses, but this was a different level. And he came, you know, he had dynamite in his gloves. We saw that because, you know, from the opening bell, from the first start of the fight, he hit Abdul with a tremendous shot and then put him right down. Then another shot. And then, you know, then the kid say, hey, listen, and then he went into shark mode, you know, not survival. He saw blood and he was excited and he went in. Now we got a real fight.
Yeah, so Abdullah Mason, he's been one of my favorite fighters to watch.
Mine too, as well.
I think that he's probably ready. You know, I'm just bringing him along slow, but
Sure.
I think he's probably maybe 2 or 3 fights away from contending for a title. But shout out to Abdullah Mason. Now we get to Philly's own Boots Ennis, Jerron Boots Ennis.
Sure.
He just had a showing this weekend. We were there. Once again, I saw you there. We, met there. It's how we end up here today.
Yeah, for real.
You're like, hey, grinding me up. But we're here now. So we seen Jerron Boots Ennis and take on Karen this weekend. And in that fight, we've seen a lot of different things that raised the eyebrow. Some things we saw that were good. Some things we saw that were bad. What's your overall thoughts on that fight?
Great performance. I really thought it was great. And again, it's the same thing we just talked about previously in other fighters. We can't really hold these guys. I really saw that they were trying to, coast Boots along, and he's really listening. But I'm ringside, and he's like, "Yo, I got it." Like he was locked in. And then sometimes they like, "All right, well, we got to give him the rings and allow him to go," because he had a feeling. He had a feeling in there, and then they kept trying to pull him. So I think it shifted his his thought process, you know. And with that, right, especially, you know, when you got all eyes on you, one little switch up and uncertainty, it makes it look like it's a blemish. Yeah. And that's what we saw.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think he did take, you know, a few more punches than he should have taken in that fight.
Correct.
But like you said, maybe that was because of the feeling that he had about his opponent. Maybe he thought that, hey, listen, this guy can't hurt me. I'm gonna get him out of there. A lot of people were saying that maybe if he fought Crawford this, if he fought Crawford that. I think that if he fought Crawford, he probably would fight more cautious. He wouldn't have that same game plan or the same mentality, from my opinion. I think that he probably would, you know, box more because he understands who's on the other side of that ring, in my opinion. But overall, in my opinion, I thought Boots fought a good fight. I would like to see him take less punishment, less shots. He did have a few bumps and bruises after the fight, but you know, he got the job done. And also, to commend Boots on that fight, he did put Carr down. Carr has never been dropped before. So,
I mean, he was tough. Like, no doubt about it. This is a guy, and then we knew this going into it. This is a guy that's built tough, and he was rocked. And what, you know, scared me about this fight, not for him, for just, you know, how deadly Boots is and how well he wanted to put on a great performance, was the fact of, he was clearly a little shorter, right? And then the next thing about it was the fact of, I didn't want Boots breaking his hand or getting a headbutt or risking a cut and is putting you out of a big money fight. So we're dealing with a person that has been frustrated, clearly, right? Because nobody wants to fight him. You know, Mike went through that. Iron Mike went through that. You know, the greats always went through that. I remember coming up in my career, and I hit a wall, you know, 5-0, because I had, you know, 4 first-round knockouts. And everybody, like, I'm not fighting One Punch. His name is One Punch. He's deadly. I can crack in both hands. So now they icing me. Yeah. They don't want, they trying to outprice, you know, the bid. They don't want to fight. And they like, man, I don't want to fight this guy. If I'm going to go, I know I'm going to get knocked out or get hurt. You got to pay me something. This is where we at with Boots right now. He can crack in both hands, got dynamite, and nobody wants to fight him. So they're really icing him out. Yeah. Terrence Crawford went through that same thing, you know, slick southpaw. He can fight on both sides. He's deadly. Nobody wanted to fight him. So now and they priced him out, and he had to wait. So now he's playing this waiting game with Boots. Boots will be 29 in the next month, you know, and he's like, wow, you know, I'm getting up there. And he's been, you know, outside of the last fight, prior to that, it was about a year, almost a year, and in a few months, you know, before he stepped back in the ring, they're trying to hold him and hold him. So now it's like, damn, I'm keeping this weight and I'm holding at this time, but nobody wants to fight me at 47. Yeah. I want to go, you know, I need to go up because I want these fights. He's frustrated because he's inactive. Yeah. This kid fights a lot. You know, in the gym, they tell him to go take off. He's working the pads. He's working with people. He runs. That's all he do. He eats, sleep, and dream boxing. Yeah.
So now, Boots, he made a statement in the press conference stating that possibly at some point he's probably going to want to, you know, move up. Because he's saying, he said he made the weight easy, 147 easy, but he mentioned that possibly him moving up is an option to 154. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I love it, but he's just really basically just saying, I want to be active, I want to work. And mostly people that's active in terms of working, that's their thing. I want to work. I don't want to spar. I don't want to be waiting on the back burner. I want to be up under the lights. So, I mean, I take it, you know, my hat off to his opponent. He was the only one that really wanted to fight. He answered the call, and he put on a great performance in terms of survival. And Boots, you know, was the fact of saying, like, yo, this is what they dangled in front of him. I don't really want to fight this guy. I beat this guy before. But they like, look, you know, possibly, you know, right is wrong with a knockout. So he went out there with this knockout, and then I kept seeing, like different his trainers, and I'm like, "Oh, slow down," because they was fearful of him because he was locked in. I saw him keep breaking his concentration when he was getting ready. The break of, I saw this funny. The break of, especially it's like the bull and the matador, right? You show them and you take it away.
Yeah.
Because they're locked in on the sheet. I'm sitting ringside. I seen him locked in. So when they call him Boots, he breaking him. So then the next move in terms of breaking him was the fact of him holding. Once he start clinching, he can't. Now you start seeing him drop his hands. He start getting frustrated because now his mind, because he wants to kill.
Correct.
So they Boots. I'm seeing him look at his brother, and he like, yo, chill, I got this, because he get ready to go for the kill. Boots, his father, he like this, chill, I see something. So they like, yo, and I can't say, yo, because I'm looking at him, feeling what he feel. I'm looking at his eyes, right? I can't say, yo, to the trainers enough. Chill, I see what he's seeing, right? I'm seeing these shots, right? They seen it as well. But now you're prone to voices. Yeah. The voice of your father, right? And you prone to your brothers right there. You know your brother's voice. So his brother right there, and they like, yo, this, that. And he like, and then now, once his mind shifts, he grabs him. So he's like, damn, that bell ring. Yeah. So he like, I gotta get reset all over again. So I seen this with Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler, when he was fighting Hearns and then he was fighting Mugabe. When you fighting a puncher, you just turn him and grab him and reset. Yeah. Buster Douglas did it with Iron Mike Tyson. Yeah. It's simple. You gotta reset. Start and stop. Then a bell. Bang. So now that's what we saw. Yeah. And that was the survival situation with this kid right here. He understood in terms of, yo, you got three things working, and he's trying to put on this performance. He has this thing that he's going after. That's really big, right? I'm under the lights. Yo, I'm trying to be impressive. Everybody's watching me. And I got this in my head, and y'all stopping me.
So also, another thing I want to kind of throw in there as well is, and Boots, he mentioned this, he said, hey, the game plan that Karen brought this time was different than what he didn't expect it, because last time Karen went on his bike the whole fight.
Yeah, right.
So like he said, he probably was a little surprised by the game plan that they had for him this fight, because Karen was. Yeah,
he was punching. He was right there.
So he said, you're not gonna run. So let me get you out of here. I'm gonna show you what it's hitting for. Boots, next, what would you want to see next for him? Do you want to see him stay at 47, make that move to 154? What do you see Boots do? So
they posed something real interesting, or something happened at the press conference after the fight. So, and I've thought about that. If you're not getting the big fights, I know you want Crawford, of course, hands down. Everybody want to see you with Crawford. This is what your eyes set on. And then Crawford is freezing you out. All the other champions is freezing you out. So what do? So they like, oh yeah, but you want to be active. So, Blair Cobb comes to the press conference and he said, well, listen, fight me. I want to fight. So Eddie passed him and said, no disrespect to you, Blair, and I understand this, but, we're trying to move on to bigger and better things. Yeah. But until we can get there, that's something that's really, to keep it going. That's something that's going to build, the people want to see it as far as Philadelphia. I actually told Danny Garcia he should take Blair Cobbs. And they looked at me like I was crazy. Yeah. And now at this point, after Danny goes through what he went through, right? You know, going up in weight and everything. You need this get back. You need to get back. So that's a big Philadelphia fight. I take Blair Cobbs in a heartbeat. I know Boots would knock him out and look sensational. You want the look that you're looking for? Take Blair Cobbs and then watch everybody else come. Then you can take, Connor and these other ones. Oh yeah, Virgil. And then you got, then by that time, Ryan Garcia be off of suspension, and you ready to dance.
You know, another thing, you know, I think the easiest fight probably to make would be Conor Benn. Conor Benn has surgery.
Conor Benn was just here. He was in Philadelphia. I seen Conor.
His suspension is up, so that probably be a fight that we probably will see next if Boots wants to hang around at 147. Also, I want to give a shout out to my guy Ray Savage. Ray Savage put on a hell of a show.
Oh, Ray, my guy, and I thought we was going to jump right into Ray right after that. Abdul Mason. So you went right to Ray. Now, the part I want to say about Ray was the fact that in the beginning he went out there and was sensational. He put the kid down. He was smoking. I don't know what happened. It's just kind of like like right after the knockdown, and he got back up. You knocked him down again. You was going at him, and then you just kind of stayed on the line. This kid was gutsy. He was tough, and Ray was following the game plans all the way up in that. And it just seemed like right after that, we kind of abandoned all these fundamentals. So I think I want to see Ray work on those fundamentals. I think it's the changing of the guards. Tremendous shout out to Rel. Rel did a terrific job, but I think we need Coach Anthony back, in the corner as well to fine polish some things.
Shout out to Coach Rel, man.
Rel, my man. Like I got love, but sometimes when you changing the difference of trainers, right? The voices, I know my trainer, with my eyes closed, I can hear him wherever he at in the room, and we went through a period in time when I didn't train with him and fight for him in one fight, but he came to the fight because he had another fighter on the card. And I can hear him. He was always on the other side yelling. I can pick right up. So it was like, but I understood my corner at that time, what they was telling in strategy. But I'm like, and that's why I understood what Boots was saying, because when people are yelling and they keep yelling these shots and you see something, you got to really be able to tell them, hold on, pause. You don't even I don't need that in my ear. That's why I need to be one sound, one band, one sound when you're in a corner. You don't need to be hype. You don't need to be over dramatic. Give me the instruction, squirt the water in my mouth and send me back out the war.
Quality over compromise, not a brand, it's a lifestyle. All of me. Shout out to Holloman. So it's quality over compromise. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle.
So my thing is, with this whole event overall, I just want to speak about the whole event overall.
Sure.
I think the event was a success. I don't think that the crowd it wasn't as electric as it was the first
time around.
And like Boots said, it probably was because of the actual opponent. I think the opponent didn't bring the actual incitement that they wanted to see at the follow up, the first fight. But I would like to see Boots continue to fight here. I like to continue to see Boots, make Philly not only his home of residence, but his home of fighting. Because I think that
the Mecca.
It's almost like Earl Spence when he fights in Texas. You know what I'm saying? So Yeah, I think it will make a lot of sense for Boots to continue to do what he's doing, or maybe even move around, go up to New York or move around like these guys are doing in boxing.
No, I mean, I thought that, Philadelphia gave a great standing and showing, right? And of course, it was definitely a difference from the first one. But I will say that it was good. And, Philly's fickle, man. You just got to really understand it. And we were having a sidebar, and I talked to them. I think they, the first go around, they struck gold. No doubt about it, right? It was sold out. And they were very little promotion. And they thought they can go with the same strategy this time around. And well, we saw that clearly didn't work, because you got to do some type of advertisement. Eddie Hearns just can't come to Philadelphia, the week of the fight and just, and you put up an Instagram post and say, yo, we fighting, and at this point, that was a conversation too. Is it just on the fighters as well? Do they just, is on a promotion company, or do you put it into the hands of the fighters as well? Yeah. Because outside of Boots promotion and Boots, y'all throw up a few posts and you feel like, no, you got to go back to the grassroots. Kamala did it. They had posters and signs and everything and people knocking on doors. You got to go back to that. Where's the street promotions? We had the conversation about that before with Boots and them. And I was just saying, it's funny, right? During a press conference prior to that, I pulled both of the brothers together, Farad and Pooh, and called Boots over and said, they have this logo and they have the shirts. The brothers sell the shirts. Mm-hmm. And I know all the street promoters. And y'all have the money, give this logo to the street so we can flood it. Because you don't give it to them, they're going to get it anyway, and y'all not going to get a dime. Yeah. I said, you have the money, Boots, and no doubt about it. So let's make a form so that way the distribution, I don't think they understood the distribution. Put it out there. We're going to get all the people to make sure they eat. We got to touch the people in order to get the love back. We put all the logos out there. So I'm getting all, now I don't even call them the bootleggers, but they're going to get it anyway. So we put it out there. This logo needs to be on everybody's back, so it needs to be affordable, as well as in the arena, outside and on the street when they first walking in. Mm-hmm. So now, and I had that conversation prior going into the fight. I said, let's set this up, right? We make all the shirts and we give it to them. That way, there's no side cutting. They all get a lick of the lollipop. Yeah, Punch, that makes sense, right? Cool. But then the timing, right? So now, on fight night, we walk right out and my folks is there and everybody start laughing because I know all the street promoters. Yeah. And they got the logo and they got the boots. I said, they go to the neighborhood. Yeah. Because they all had it. Now they could have all got a piece of that. Imagine how many of these street promoters is out here, right? Boots Promotion would have got $5 off of each one of them, as opposed to none. Yeah. So this is why great marketing, and no doubt about it, they know that I'm a great marketer. That's what one of my strategies being a great fighter is, because I know how to touch the people. But this new generation, if you're missing a step, and we come up in an era when there wasn't no social media, so we had to touch the people, and I understand that. But this new media in terms of boxing, they have social media, and I put up a post, and then so what if I didn't see the post the first time around? They don't even go back and repost it, So and you don't go back out and touch the street. The barbershops that I'm talking about is not on billboards. It's not on radio. You're not giving it to people like me. So I'm like, look, what are we doing here? Because they're saying it's on Eddie. So is it on Eddie Hearns? Do I have to have a meeting with Eddie Hearns? Or do I go to the fighter and say, hey, listen, you might need to invest in yourself? Yeah. Where's the billboard on 95?
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, listen, you hear that's marketing 101, man. One punch. But
everywhere.
I just want to jump into, there was some good stuff, but I want to jump into a few things before we go.
Sure.
Shakur Stevenson. He's healed up from what he said. Spoke to him briefly.
And his protege fought on that card.
Yeah,
he turned pro.
Yeah, I think it was his brother, I believe.
Yes,
yeah.
and
so but Shakur, he's expected to be back soon. We're hearing possibly Zepeda is going to be his opponent for his next match sometime in January, February. What's your thoughts on Shakur's return, possibly if he faces Zepeda?
Yeah, well, they're talking about the 5-on-5, and Boots should be a part of that with Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Zepeda. And for real, honestly, if who fights him next? Our kid, our guy, Zepeda. Well, he getting ready to fight.
Oh, he about to fight Farmer, I believe.
Yeah, Tevin Farmer.
Yeah.
Tevin Farmer, Philadelphia, shout out. That's my guy. He fights. And then, so we can't count Tev out, right? If Tev wins this fight, then Tev will fight Shakur. So that's really huge. We can't shout out the underdog. I mean, he gets the winner. Yeah. But rightfully so, let's just go with, the idea and the analogy that you just proposed. Okay, well, February is right here, right? I like to see Shakur do outstanding, right? And this is the fear that we had with Boots. My fear was the hands. You hit these guys, hit hard in your hand. Floyd had hand problems. Shakur had hand problems. Mike had hand problems. Any big puncher will have hand problems, or boxer, slick boxer, right? So the fear is, him re-breaking his hand. Yeah. Because this guy, Zepeda, is coming. Is it healed up properly for you to throw it and you re-break it? Because Floyd broke his hand twice. So nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about those things. Them hands were so fragile. When I went to go, hug and shake Shakur, he's, he was, the last fight, he was, so it was like, that's excruciating pain. He don't, nah.
Yeah. But do you think Shakur gets the job done versus Zepeda?
Yeah, he's slick. He beats him easy. I mean, the foot movement. Zepeda's slow, but he's an explosive fighter and puncher. He really, he's always going to be a step ahead of him. He's not fast, and Shakur is just elusive.
All right, well, another fight. Let's jump into, we spoke about, the cash cow, in boxing. Well, one of the cash cows outside of Canelo, we got Gervonta Tank Davis taking on Lamont Roach. Yeah. Possibly in December.
No, they moved it back to January 16th, I believe.
So January
15th.
So January 16th, and I think they moved it to Vegas as well.
To Vegas, of course.
Yeah, so he's going to
Martin Luther King weekend, I believe.
Yeah, he's going to take on Roach. Your thoughts on that fight? Do you think Roach has what it takes to get the job done against Gervonta?
Funny thing, I seen Lamont during Boots fight. I saw him this weekend at Boots fight, and it showed him mad love. I like to see Lamont, but it just feel like, that's why they moved the fight. Because, the people, the odds are Vegas, and all the sports bettors feel like, this is cheating. They didn't give Lamont a chance, nobody, and they had to restack the card. So I think they got
Charlo, I believe. I think Charlo was.
Charlo, no, not what's the other guy? The one that they fought on the last card. They spent Benavidez. They put Benavidez on there. They might throw Charlo on. They got to stack the card because I felt like this is the thing that happens in terms of boxing, right? They try to get one more quick show in by December, right before the closing of the year. Rightfully so, you should, but the people don't have that money to be traveling and going, right? We got Mike this week coming up, right? And people are going out there for that, right? And then the turnaround then we got the holidays, and then we got the new year. So people don't have the finances, that lodging, travel, airfare, then the ticket, Then you got to get an outfit. You bring your lady, she got to get her hair done and all those things, right? People don't have that money. So in order, and even if you're home and your luxury in your home and you eating popcorn, right? And you having a fight party, right? You still got to pay for the fight to come on. And they're not $9.99 no more. They $100 plus tax. So just to have the luxury in your own home, you ask yourself, is it worth it around the holiday time? If you don't celebrate the holiday, either do I, but it's people that do, they're feeling like, hey, listen, do I spend this 100 on this or do I go get a gift? Is you gonna bring me a gift? No. So Lamont, no disrespect to Lamont, that's my man. I feel in a different situation, but we feel like the cards are stacked against him when we go to Tank.
Okay, there you have it, man. Outside of that, I believe boxing is in a good space. I believe that it's headed in the right direction. We're getting a lot of the fights that we want to see. We'll see what happens, man. Anything else you want to add before we go, man?
What network do you like?
Network?
Yeah.
TBISE network I like.
Yeah, listen, it's clear. I'm in lights. Listen, I really believe it. And we're going to bring the biggest fights to a station near you. We bringing it home, right? So shout out to you guys. I'm here. This is my new home. So you're going to see me, and more chances than one. Yeah. But what I want to say, with all the changing of the guards, right? Top Rank is on ESPN Plus, right? Mm-hmm. Then we have Golden Boy is on DAZN. Mm-hmm. Matchbox is on DAZN, right? Matchmaker, right? Matchroom, right? And then you have PBC is on Amazon. Correct. And so then shout out to Danny Garcia. He on a new network. He's doing the new network that he's working on, right? And so I say that to say that all these new networks, fighters can't be superstars unless they have a home, and they have to have the right network. I used to love HBO and running home to watch Roy Jones because the network, it was so clear. It was the clarity and the view was so beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. And then sometime later, when it went to Showtime, I loved that. It was so clear, right? And this is what made PBC so outstanding, and you made them superstars overnight. I just don't really feel so and comfortable with Amazon, the clarity, the viewership, and this is why you stacking the cards, because we come from the streets. You always got to put, stack. If the work ain't really good, we got to keep stacking it up, and I'm gonna give it out. You got to go more quality if the quality ain't good.
Well, also on the flip side, I think that on the flip side, outside of that could be a scenario, and I'm not saying it's not, but I think that they are trying to put on the best shows possible, and they have. And PBC, you got to say that they do have a lot of the top fighters, a lot of the top attractions in boxing, possibly two of the main boxing attractions. They do have the two top dogs. They have Canelo and they have
Benavidez.
And they have Benavidez as well.
3.
Yeah, they have 3.
Yeah.
So they have,
Tank.
Yeah, Tank, Benavidez,
Canelo.
And and they still got a lot of other fighters. Even though Spence just lost, he still has attraction down there. Errol Spence, he's an attraction. A bunch of other fighters.
So tell me about the Sheikh. What do you think? What do you see with the Sheikh in terms of
Sheikh Ali? I mean, I believe that his plan of putting all the boxes under one umbrella, under one arena, I should say. I don't think it. I mean, it's possible. I think it's possible, but I don't know if the promoters will be willing to do that.
No, it was really about the money, and he has the money, so he's making them all come together. Before they wouldn't even really consider it, I really feel that Golden Boy has been stepping their fights up. They're understanding that at this point that we have to really turn the leverage up a notch, and they're doing that to push these young fighters out in the forefront so we can get bigger fights. those days of holding fights and we doing these things, and I feel like, yo, even with Top Rank, when we got, you know, Shoo Shoo over there, which he get ready to fight, and now Shoo Shoo's fighting on, you know, Netflix next week, you know. We have Abdul Mason, that's over there on Top Rank. We got, you know, Keyshawn Davis, you know, real young proteges and superstars that's right there in the making, right? Yeah. But I don't really feel that, you know, ESPN would really hold them and make them their home. They keep putting it on ESPN. Oh, and then you take the heavyweight kid, you know, the one who just lost, and he fought over there.
Who are you talking about, Fury?
Huh?
Or Big Baby Davis?
Not Big Baby Davis, the other one.
Big Baby?
No, the one that's from Houston, or he won, he fought, I don't know, I can't think of his name.
What is it? What weight class is it?
Heavyweight. He was the young heavyweight. He got knocked out by the Sheik. That's not Big Baby.
That's Big Baby.
It's another name. It's Big Baby fought on the card and he got a draw.
Big Baby, he got knocked out. Got stopped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They call him Big Baby too.
Yeah, he got stopped.
It's two Big Babies.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Big Baby Miller and Big Baby Davis, I believe. Miller was suspended for a while, came back.
Yeah, he fought on the card and got a draw against Luis, Don Luis.
Yeah, so you know, there you have it, man. And, it's TBISE, the best in sports entertainment.
And you hear it here first, everywhere.
LLC. We give you an abundance of what you need. We know what you need. We can literally read your mind. Look at me. I'm staring right into your soul. We're gonna give you an abundance of it. Medicare LLC has been rated #1 in Pennsylvania for home care agency since 2020. They got the best pay, the best care, medical, dental, 401k. If you're located in Philadelphia County, Bucks County, Chester County, or Montgomery County, call today at
215-644-8341.
Oh, hello, is this Medicare? I just called the number that was here on the screen. This is crazy.